Alright, so we got a few fights about to start here about about an hour and a half from now. Now this is WMMA rankings on Instagram. And they're keeping up with the action this weekend. So I'm gonna go over the face-offs. You know, I'm getting into the habit of looking at the face-offs more and more. You don't really get anything from them except for maybe the height difference, size difference. And Croden does not look that much taller than Lisboa here. You see, they're both in the same shoes. And not much of a height difference. So I don't think Croden is going to enjoy really a size advantage. Now let me tell y'all something. I think the entrance or the inclusion of the Mexican lady, grappler, what's her name, Mosquita, sort of saved the bantamweight division. You know, I won't say saved, but she is a needed character. We needed somebody interesting. Of course, it has to be an undefeated fighter. You know, I wanted that type. The division needs those types of fighters. That's what made the flyweight division hot. That's what made the strawweight division hot. Don't ever forget that. Those divisions were hot because they had a number of undefeated fighters who were undefeated in the UFC. But Mosquita is undefeated in and outside the UFC. So that makes it even better. And she looked dangerous in her UFC debut. So it was a good spark of interest for that division. So much so, we can afford to lose Melissa Croden. So, you know, it won't be that much of a loss for the division if Croden loses her UFC debut. Of course, it would be a lot better if she were to win her UFC debut, and I'm taking her in the fight. But if she loses, I don't think it will be that much of a setback for the division. Because Mosquita caught a lot of attention. You know, it's a dominant performance, stoppage. You got a performance bonus. Bantamweight division. Melissa Croden has suffered losses outside of the UFC. So even if it were just Croden who made her UFC debut without Mosquita, she wouldn't be able to have that much of a spark or create that much of a spark as Mosquita did. But I'm still taking Melissa Croden in the fight. That said, Melissa Croden can go in here and get ragdolled. And that's Tanara Lisboa's plan. Lisboa's not, her game plan is not to strike with Croden. It's not. I think I've read there was a comment left somewhere in the comment section. I can't find it now. Of some video or something I was looking at. And I think it was from somebody in her team. That's just my suspicion. But even without that comment, I would expect Lisboa to try to get Croden down. I believe that she believes that she has more of an advantage over Croton on the ground. And Croton can go in here and get ragdolled. That is very possible. So I'm definitely not counting Lisboa out by no means. And like I said before, most female fights are even. Most of them are fairly even. It's rare that you're just going to get a fighter who just blows the other fighter out the water. That was one of the reasons why Mosquito and Palastri got a bonus, a fight of the night bonus, or performance of the night bonus. And it's even more rare for the women. So they got acknowledged because of how rare it is for them to just blow their opponents out the water. So we'll see what happens. I'm taking Melissa Croton over Tanara Lisboa. Again, Croton is not young. Originally, I thought she was young, but she has style, like on the feet. There's a good reason why Lisboa is going to try to take the fight to the ground. Croton, when she strikes, especially when she boxes, she moves like a professional boxer. She's giving you angles. She's cutting angles. She's slipping shots. She's countering. In many ways, as a striker, she is above average. There's a reason why in all of her victories, she stopped her opponent. You know, there's a reason why she hasn't won by decision yet. What in the world was that? Did y'all see that? Sometimes my screen might flicker. I don't know what that is. Ashley Dean, she won by ground and pound. Stopped Katharina by punches. Lost to Cavalcante. Ground and pound against Cornelia Holm. Rear naked choke. Jackie McLean. Elizabeth Schroeder stopped her with punches. Strikes against Joe. And even in her amateur bouts, I believe she won most of those by stoppage. Y'all see, it just did it again. I don't know what's going on. Well, she stopped all of her amateur, except for this one. It's a corner stop. Yeah, that's a stoppage too. That is a significant record. That's a significant record. You always have to beware of women with records like that. So y'all better get used to that face. Something wrong with this chick. Okay? She wants blood. She's trying to unalive people in there. And like I said, that's what the UFC needs. The UFC needs finishers. Finishers. That's why I predicted that UFC would sign her. You finishing all the fighters that you defeat? Yeah, you may as well expect to see them in the UFC eventually. Remember, they signed her only 2 fights after she lost to Cavalcante. They didn't need to see much more. They saw, okay, she went right back to her ways of stopping every fighter that she defeats. Yeah, something wrong with this chick. In a good way, of course, but that's exactly the type of fighter I want to watch fight. Okay, when Croden is on the card, best believe I'm watching. This is the record of her opponent, Tanara Lisboa. Good fighter. Okay. Lost her most recent fight to Luana Santos. But she has not stopped all the opponents that she's defeated. She's had one decision victory. And we've seen this before, where fighters are able to stop all their opponents as soon as they come into the UFC. They either lose or win their first fight by decision. So we'll see what happens there. Stephanie Luciano against Ravina Oliveira. No idea who wins this fight. Haven't even watched any fights of Ravina Oliveira yet. I might before the card gets started. And so me taking one of these fighters is just a wild guess. And I'm going to take the newcomer, Ravina, in this fight. But keep your eye on Stephanie Luciano. She is a fun fighter to watch. Fun fighter to watch. And I remember that clearly because she has a distinctive face. She looks very young, like she looks a lot younger than she is. These fighters about the same height, looks like. Yeah. Don't know much about her, or either of them, so I can't say much about them. But this, the main event for the women, I know enough about. Not much of a height difference. And it looks like, man, is Manon shorter? They're about the same height. But I just don't see Jasmine. I don't see her outstriking Manon. Remember, Jasmine's offense, she's really a ground fighter. But when she is on her feet and she's striking with you, her offense is really only effective if you're stationary. Jasmine can't really strike against an opponent who's using angles. A mobile opponent. Her style is just not suited to catch fighters who use angles, who move. Remember how hard of a time she had connecting on Natalia Silva. And the thing is, Manon can move like that. Manon can move. She got wheels. Okay? And aside from that, Manon is just a better striker, period. And Manon is strong. She is physically strong. It's difficult to ragdoll Manon. And a lot of fighters who she's faced, you would expect that if someone was to have an advantage on the ground, that it would be her opponent. It would end up being Manon. Well, who is their opponent? Jennifer Maia was one of them. I thought that if there was going to be a fighter taking the other one down, it would not be Manon taking Maya down. Manon is strong. She's bull strong for a woman in there. Fighters try to maul her and take her down. They run into a surprise. Like, she just doesn't move. She's that strong, man. And if Jasmine can't get you down, let me put it like, if Jasmine can't get a good striker down, that's the foundation of a beating for Jasmine's style. That was her problem with Natalia Silva. She could not muscle, and Silva even took her down. Ended up taking Jasmine down and beating her up on the ground. But she could not bully Natalia Silva, and Natalia Silva was a much better striker. That was the end of Jasmine. Fight was over. That fight could have won 10 rounds. Jasmine would have been beaten on every round. Jasmine is like a mummy. She's like a mummy in there. She either got to grab you, and if she's going to beat you up with her fists, you got to stand there. Yeah, stand there in one spot so that she can beat on you. So I don't like this fight for Jasmine. I'm rolling with Manon heavy. If Jasmine go in here and whoop Manon, that's going to catapult Jasmine into instant stardom for WMMA UFC standards. That will be far more of a shock for me than if Manon wins. Manon wins. If Manon wins, okay, yeah, that's what I expected to happen. But if Jasmine wins, I'm telling you, at least for me, I'm going to be surprised. I'm going to be surprised. And that's why I'm taking Manon in this fight. We will see what happens. I will be back to talk about the results. Let's at least hope nobody stinks up the joint. And I will see y'all after the fights.